So we want to look at the area and the perimeter of a trapezium. For those in the United States, they call it trapezoid. Okay, but those who use British English call it trapezium. So what is a trapezium? A trapezium is a 2D shape with one pair of sides that are parallel sides. Okay. So now, a trapezium is a 2D shape with one pair of sides that are parallel. So a, a trapezium is actually a quadrilateral. That means it has four sides. But out of these four sides, one pair of sides are parallel. So let's draw an example of a trapezium. So this is an example of a trapezium. If you look at this shape, these two sides are parallel. That means if you extend these lines continually, they will never meet. Okay? So if they keep extending, they will never meet. So this makes them parallel lines. So this is a pair, one pair. So this is one pair. Okay? But if you look at these two lines, if you extend them, at some point, they are going to meet each other. So these two lines are not parallel. So that means this is a trapezium because only one pair of parallel lines, only one pair of lines are parallel to each other. Okay, so looking at this, we can see that this is a trapezium. Also, if you have a shape like this, so this is also a trapezium because these two sides are parallel, but these two sides are not. If they continue this way, they are also going to meet. Okay, you can also draw it in this form. So this is also a trapezium. These two sides are parallel, but these two sides are not parallel. They will meet. Okay. So once you have one pair of parallel lines or one pair of parallel sides, that shape is a trapezium. Next is the formula for the area. So the area is equal to half A plus B multiplied by the height. Area is half A plus B multiplied by the height. Now, what are these values? A is the shorter length of the parallel sides. So here we call it A, the shorter length of the two parallel sides. The longer length of the parallel sides, we call it B. Okay? And then what is our height? The height is not the slant side. The height is the distance between them. So the space between them is the height. So for you to calculate the area of a trapezium, you should know the shorter length, you should know the longer length, and also the height or the distance between them. Next, if you want to calculate the perimeter is simply the sum of all the sides of this trapezium. So if this is A and B, let's call this C and D. So the perimeter is equal to A plus B plus C plus D. So the sum of all the four sides gives you the perimeter of the trapezium. So we're going to look at some examples. So we're expected to calculate the area of this trapezium. Okay, so looking at this, we need to identify, first we need to write the formula. The formula is area is equal to half A plus B times the height. What's the value of A? So A is the shorter length. You know, these two sides are parallel. These two sides are not parallel. So the shorter length among the two parallel sides is our A. So A is equal to 12 centimeter. Our B is equal to the longer length, 28 centimeter. And our height is the distance between them. So H is equal to 6 centimeter. So we know all the values we need to solve this question. So A is equal to half 12 plus 28 times 6. So 12 plus 28 is going to give us 40. So A is equal to half times 40 times 6. Half times 40 is going to give us 20. So we have 20 times 6. Half times 40 is the same thing as half of 40. Half of 40, which is 20. And then 20 multiplied by 6 is going to give us 120. So the area of this trapezium is 120 centimeter square. 120 centimeter square. That's the area of this trapezium. In this question, we're expected to calculate the height of a trapezium with area 250 square feet and length 20 feet and 30 feet. So remember, a trapezium always has two lengths. So if you have a trapezium like this is length 1 and this is length 2. So the two parallel sides are called lengths. So this is the shorter length, this is the longer length. So here 20 could represent this side and 30 could represent this side. So these are the two lengths, right? The longer and the shorter length. So what we are looking for is the height. We already know the area to be 250 square feet. Okay. So area is equal to half A plus B multiplied by the height. So we know our A to be 250. Our smaller a, small letter A, is the shorter length, which is 30 feet. Sorry, which is 20 feet. Our B is the longer length, which is 30 feet. So you can now fix these values into the formula. So 250 is equal to half 20 plus 30 multiplied by the height. So 20 plus 30 is going to give us 50. So we have 250 is equal to half times 50 times h. What's half times 50? Half times 50 is the same thing as half of 50. And half of 50 is 25. So we have 250 is equal to 25 times h. So to get the value of h, we divide both sides by 25. 25 will cancel out 25. 250 divided by 25, what do we have? So 25 here 1, 25 here 10. Therefore, h is equal to 10 feet. So the height of this trapezium is equal to 10 feet. Okay. So that gives us the value. So now let's look at a question that involves the perimeter. Let's see how to find the perimeter. For us to find the perimeter, you need to know about, there are some questions where you will need to know about Pythagoras theorem. Let's see one example. We are expected to calculate the perimeter of this trapezium. So remember, perimeter is simply the sum of all the sides of this trapezium. But we have an issue here. We don't know what this side is. So this is the height, h, but we don't know what it is. So how do we find out? Because if we don't know what this h is, we cannot calculate the perimeter. Perimeter is simply adding the four sides together. That's what perimeter is, just adding the four sides together. So now, the distance from here to here is the same as the distance from here to here. They are the same. So I can simply do this. So here can also be called h. So they are the same. So now I can consider this triangle. Let's consider this triangle because we can use Pythagoras theorem to solve this. So let's draw the triangle here. Here is 3 feet. Here is h. So do we know the distance from here to here? Does anybody know this distance? Because that's what we're going to put here. So from here to here is 5 feet, right? But from here to here is 4 feet. So here is 4 feet. So this extra is 1 feet. Because from here to here is 4 feet. We can see it here. It's 4. So this extra distance is 1 feet because 4 plus 1 gives you 5. So that's 1 feet. So we have 1 feet here. So now we can find h using Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem says the square of this side is equal to the square of these other two sides. So Pythagoras theorem states that c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. So c is always this slant height, okay? So that means 3 squared is equal to, let's call this 1 squared. So 1 squared plus h squared. 3 squared is equal to 9. So 9 is equal to 1 squared is equal to 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So 1 plus h squared. So if you move 1 to this side, we have 9 minus 1. So 9 minus 1 is equal to h squared. That means h squared is equal to 8. H squared is equal to 8. 9 minus 1 gives you 8. So h squared is equal to 8. So if h squared is equal to 8, then h is equal to square root of 8. What's the square root of 8? Square root of 8 is 2.83. So h is equal to 2.83. So we have found the value of h, 2.83 feet. So now we can find the perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is simply adding all the sides together. So the perimeter can be found by adding this plus this plus this plus h. Now we know that h is 2.83. So let's do that. So perimeter is equal to a plus b plus c plus d. A plus b plus c plus d. So we have it as 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2.83. So if you add all these together, what will you get? The value of the perimeter is 14.83 feet. So you can see that when we are calculating for the perimeter, we don't have square. We only have a square when we are calculating the area, not perimeter. Okay. So this gives us the answer to the question that we have here.